Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity, and Love. Amazing experts the world over with incredible insights. They've often been through their own personal transformative journey of some sort. They've become healers, international best-selling authors, psychologists, doctors. We feel like we've had them all on by now. We're booked 330 episodes into 2026. We've had a White House physician to the US president, the youngest Delta Force operator ever admitted to Delta Force, tons of healers, different modalities from all over, and tons of folks with a really good sense of humor. They also often take steps on the show, which you can participate in if you just stick around towards the end. It could be anything from lighting sage, blowing sage your way, to seeing auras, light chakras on people or hands, to actually listening to feeling angels. It just depends on the guest and it depends on you. So give yourself permission to let go and really enjoy the ride, especially with this guest coming to us from Tampa, Florida. She's amazing, Feng Shui expert, all about energy. She's totally connected, if we say, not mafia wise, but like intuitive wise, with the universe. She's using what she's got. It hasn't always been that way, but she's super fun and sparkly. She's also an award-winning author, and she'll share with us what's next on her career path ahead. She's having a lot of fun. Alejandra Brady, thank you very much for joining us on Angels, Positivity, and Love. It was wonderful to meet you today, and I'm very excited to have you here right now.
That was already so much fun what we did off camera. So thank you. I'm super excited to be here too. And happy, I don't know when it's airing, but happy new moon because we are taping on a new moon as well. So I love that.
Oh, thank you. Can you go big picture for us? Usually we go back in time to a very specific experience that
Mhm.
was influential in you choosing the path that you're on today, or it got you back on your path today. But can you catch us up where you are right now? Because you are hyper connected in terms of your guides, in terms of your ability to listen and then translate that into action on behalf of yourself and others. So do you mind putting some cards on the table early about how highly like intuitive you are?
Sure. I know it's wild, isn't it? It's really been a fun ride. So this ride started for me at 50 and I'm 57 now. So I know now that I've done the work and I've written the book and all that stuff, I understand and connected the dots, but I hadn't at the beginning. But what's really fun for me now is I just roll with it and I listen to what my guides tell me to do. And I wake up every day super excited to see what's going to happen. How is the magic going to play out today? And when I'm talking to people and here's a great one. I was doing a consultation in England because I do my feng shui consultations all over the world, um, either in person if I can get to your house, or like the one in England was virtual. So she had just said yes to something that I had suggested for her to do, and she was hesitant about it. But I said, trust me, it's really going to work for you. And on both our screens, balloons came up. And she goes, what'd you do? I go, nothing. My hands are over here. And she goes, I didn't do anything either. My hands are over here. And I just think our angels and guides, and especially for her, her angels were saying, yes, you're doing what we're suggesting for you to do. Because I go into every consultation not asking what I'm going to tell everybody, but channeling. And before I got on with you, it was the same thing. I'm like, you guys channel through me, help me share with this audience what they need to hear. It's not about me. It's about using me as a mouthpiece to share what people need to hear and what's going to be most beneficial. So that's how I go into every day. I'm like, I've got a huge crew behind me. I love it so much. I can call on them anytime. I always feel they're there. And it was just the most wild experience for her. And I go, yeah, that's just Tuesday for me. It's like every day I expect magic, so I get it. I mean, in the smallest of ways and the largest of ways, but I live every day knowing that I'm surrounded by this incredible crew of beings in all shapes and sizes, and just allow them to guide me through my day instead of fighting it.
Can you share a moment where it could have been the classic flat tire and a stranger shows up, sparkly eyes, and you're back on the road in 5 minutes, or some other point in your life where you know you got a little help from the universe? It couldn't have been a regular human being. Do you have one of those stories you could share?
Not that I can think of right now where it's a specific person. Um, I'm super clairaudient, so to me, a lot of times it comes in hearing things. and I get it through messages. Like Sedona for me was a message. Well, you know what? Okay, so I take that back. It plays into the Sedona. I all of a sudden in the middle of the night got told the word Sedona. I didn't know where this was at that point in time. This is 2018, and I was not really into all this yet very much. And then I got up and I went to town. I was walking around, and a woman I had not seen in over 10 years ran up to me on the street and said, "Hi, Alejandra, how are you? How have you been? Have you gone to Sedona?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" Yeah, I kid you not. And then again, another person I hadn't seen in a while brought up Sedona. So within 24 hours, I'd been told 3 times. The word Sedona had been used for me 3 times. So I came home and told my husband, I think we need to look into this. I'll make a longer story short. 10 days later, I owned a home in Sedona.
I love.
And I finished writing the book
Yep.
and I finished the final edit, and Sedona told me to leave. And I was heartbroken. I'm like, "What do you mean you don't want me here?" And they're like, "You're not needed here. You came, you got your PhD, you did what you were supposed to do here, sell the house." So here I'm telling my poor husband, I'm like, we got to sell the house. And we doubled our money in 3 years, 10 days out. They wanted to close in 10 days, above asking, all cash offer. So in 10 days, out in 10 days.
I love it.
It's
Okay.
crazy. But yeah, so that girl, I would say that girl, even though there was something about it that was so weird. And I haven't seen her again in 20 years or however long it's been, you know, like it's just, she showed up that day.
Ooh, do you want to take a quick time out? Here, you can hear the backstory in it. You don't have to share it out loud, but just say, got it? Was it actually her, or was it an angel showing up as her so the message could be delivered, or something else?
I honestly think it was somebody showing up as her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can hear that point blank, but you don't have to share it out loud, or you can share it out loud. Charlotte will spill the beans. She loves doing this type of thing. You can hear which angel it was if it was an angel.
Oh, let me ask that question because I didn't ask that question. Oh, okay.
Okay. Was it a angel visitor, loving visitor helping you out?
Gabriel.
Perfect. Talk to us about your crew just a little bit. We're jumping way ahead. We're going to get back into your like life path story, but
It's
your
all
crew is
fine.
really diverse. You have spirit guides, you have angels, galactic beings, and more. How would you like to describe your cheerleading squad?
It's so big, and I'm so grateful to them all. I call them my Council of Light, and Archangel Michael's the one that, when I asked the question, said I needed to write the book. So he's always around pushing me to move forward, whether or not I want to. I have a really cool spirit guide named Rufus with long red hair, picture Middle Ages, medieval times, not quite Jamie from Outlander, but that vibe. Um, and he was actually, I do believe that I've reincarnated many, 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 many times. I'm quite old. He was my partner in one of those lifetimes, and he watched me hang because and I have the scar to prove it in this lifetime. Um, so he's always around me. Rufus is always, always around. Camilla is another spirit guide. I have my parents who've passed, not my biological ones, the ones who adopted me and raised me. I have my father-in-law who likes to send all of us dimes, and he puts dimes in the most crazy, random of places that you would know, and only dimes. That's all I ever find, only dimes, which is not even something people use anymore. And so my husband finds them, our son finds them. I was sharing with my husband's siblings because we were down in New Orleans for a graduation, and I was sharing with them about the dimes because I found one, and they all looked at me. And then my niece comes out and she goes, "I just found this the other day in like a crazy place." Then my nephew comes out and he goes, "I found this," and they're all dimes. And so now I get texts from everyone, "Found a dime, found a dime." And I just think that's really fun that he's around and likes to share that with us. I do light language. I channel the Hathors. So yeah, so I've actually been Egyptian several times, but And it took me a while to be able to say this out loud. And I wrote about it in the book, but it catches me still every once in a while. I was Tutankhamun.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big one to say. And that's a big one. And people are like, yeah, right. I'm like, listen, if I was going to walk around and say I was Egyptian, wouldn't you rather be Isis or Nefertiti or somebody really cool like that? I was a crippled 19-year-old boy, who during his reign, since I just came back from Egypt a few months ago and I learned a lot more about him, was not a big deal.
Hmm.
The reason he became the big deal that he is because they found so much of his tomb intact with all the artifacts. But Tutankhamen, as the boy king, was not, not that big a deal. So it's not so outrageous that I couldn't have been him. But either way, I had somebody going back to an angel. I had somebody as I was walking through his exhibit and I was in full ugly cry. I did not expect this. We just hit Cairo the day before. And we went to Saqqara that morning, which are the oldest pyramids on the planet. And that had already been a very moving experience. And then we went to the museum and I'm walking around and I'm seeing Hathor and I'm seeing all this stuff and I'm good. And then we walked right into the Tutankhamun exhibit and I saw the death mask, didn't bother me. I saw the sarcophagus, didn't bother me. Then along the lines of all that, so if you can picture, those two things are in cases in the center, like in an island, and then all around the perimeter were a lot of the things that they found when they found him. I'm starting to walk through those and I lose it. And this is full on ugly cry. And I do mean ugly. Mascara's running down my face. There's no tissues. I was not prepared for this reaction, completely visceral. And I could see the stuff on me.
Oof.
And that's why I was losing it because I could see all of those gold pieces and the jewels. And I mean, I'm still kind of a little gold hoarder, and just I could see all the things and I could see them on me. And I was really having a hard time. And my husband was right in front of me because everybody was single file. So he had no idea this was even happening. And this woman taps me on my left shoulder. And I turn around and she says, "My name is Laura. Are you okay?" And I just said, I'm okay. I'm just having a very visceral reaction to this. And something told me to tell her this. And I just said, I was him. And I think I'm just having, an emotional reaction to seeing my things. That's literally what I said to this absolute stranger behind me. And she just looked at me and gave me the look everybody gives me whenever I say that I was him. And they're like, poor thing. When does the institution need you back? And so I just kept walking. 5 minutes later, she taps me again on my left shoulder again. And I turn around and go, I really am okay. She goes, no, 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 honey, I need to tell you something. She goes, I thought you were crazy. And I'm like, duh, And she said, but I am an energy healer. I'm from Dubai and I have scanned you 3 different times. And you're telling me the truth. Every single time I get told that you're telling me 100% the truth. And I know that you needed to hear that.
Aw. I
And
love.
so that's an angel too, right? Because that was the validation, and it chokes me up to say it now. Like that's the validation from an absolute stranger that I needed in that moment to help me feel that I wasn't crazy, right? Again, just because some of this stuff, especially, I'm better at it now, but especially at the beginning of my journey, it's hard. And it's hard to accept and conventional, we're talking about that the fear-based versus the not fear-based. I mean, they're not easy things to always accept and to acknowledge. So I think she was an angel put there to help me too. And then as we left, actually something came with us, like we both felt it, and we're like, no, 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 no. You need to go back and stay there. Like you can't come with me. Like something attached itself to me. And the best that we can figure is, how they have servants that died with the king. We're like, no, 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 your place is not with me. I'm okay. You need to stay where you were. So she helped me release that attachment right when we walked outside the door. And then I don't know where she went.
Ooh.
Isn't that wild?
Here, you don't have to share it out loud, but have Charlotte give you the background on her. No accidents. Was she real? Was she human, or is it a method to reach you to let you know everything was okay?
She was real.
Okay.
She was real. But she was put there for me. in that moment. I do believe that.
I wonder how many angels it took to get the timing right so you're both in the same line. Here, how many angels were involved to make that happen?
7.
Thank you. And there's an angel named John who's synchronicity who, like, you're in high school, you're supposed to meet your future wife or husband. How many times did you round the corner and not knock your books together or have a fork fall in the cafeteria or at a restaurant? You wouldn't believe what angels are doing all the time, and it doesn't work out quite the way they were expecting. Let's get back to compassion, kindness, gentleness. What have you learned about how important all that fluffy stuff is? Being in the heart, being in the present moment, treating people well. What's the gist of all that?
I think that's the basis for everything, right? And I also think that we are all on our own journeys. And it's very easy. I know it happened to me at the beginning of this journey. And when I was first getting certified in Feng Shui, and you get super excited about all this stuff and you want to share it with everyone. And then you feel like it's a slap in the face when people don't want to hear it. And it's taken me a while to understand that we're all on our own journey and everyone deserves compassion and caring and understanding. And just because they are not where we are, or they are not ready to receive the same way that we receive, or we don't have the same beliefs, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't mean that they are not worth having a relationship if it's possible. Sometimes, compassion and love and all that means creating boundaries for yourself, self-love, self-compassion, and that's super important too. And creating the boundaries that are going to make it so that you can do what you do and that are healthy for you as well. So,
Is love the fabric of the universe?
yes,
But now let's be, for half the audience, 10%. How do you know?
because it's a higher vibration than anything else. And I think the higher vibration is what calls in the magic, and everything else follows that. So if you are living in love, you're living in a higher state of being and in a higher vibration. And again, I do think you can have love with boundaries. I do. Unconditional love doesn't mean that you just let everybody walk all over you and you are a doormat and people can treat you any way they want without consequence. True love means that you love yourself and you love everybody around you enough to set those boundaries in place that are going to benefit, not just you, but everybody else too. But I think operating from a higher vibrational frequency is kind of what holds everything together.
And if you could take us through Feng Shui, but it's also interior design. And in essence, that's what everybody thinks it is when they hire you, but you're really helping the flow of their lifestyle, the flow of their being expand. And so it's much more transformative than some people realize at the outset when they engage you. Can you talk to us about how all that works?
Sure, sure. Well, I was and still am. I've been an interior designer for over 20 years, but I became certified in feng shui, oh goodness, almost 8 years ago now. And I'm also biophilic. I'm certified in biophilic design. So that's working with your environment and bringing nature into your home, whether it's an actual plant or other ways of bringing the 5 elements in nature to create a better environment for you and everybody in it. Um, you know how when Cesar Millan, you know who Cesar Millan is, right? He's the dog trainer. And he says, really, I'm not here to train the dog, I'm here to train the human. It's a little bit of that, in that the house is talking to me. I have that gift. I am able to communicate with the house because of my training and because of my levels of intuition and see what is happening. But it's also about helping people see a new way to be and a new way to think about things and a new way to live, and helping them understand that what surrounds you affects you, right? And what's closest to you affects you the absolute most. So if we start with what's closest to you, well, the food that you put in your mouth, what you eat and drink. Then it is what you put on your body, lotions, potions, products. Then it's the clothes you wear, the bed you sleep in, your home, your neighborhood, your city, on it grows from there. But people don't always look at it. They just think I'm going to come in and move their furniture. And I'm like, no, we need to talk about everything, because everything affects you and everything depends on everything else. And sometimes people get frustrated when they reach out to me on Instagram that I will not answer, a personal question for their home. And I'm like, I actually can't without a full consultation because I can't, it's like going to a doctor and they're only looking at your finger. It's like, well, no, I need to see what your finger's attached to. I need to see the whole body to be able to answer the question and get a read for the whole room. So everything depends on everything else. Half the time I don't touch furniture. Half the time it's about letting go of things and giving people permission to let go of things. That's a big one. Clutter is something that I'm sure you found that with working with people too. If you're so surrounded by clutter, it weighs so heavily on you, energetically, physically, and every other form. So it's sometimes I'm a psychiatrist, sometimes I'm a therapist, sometimes I'm an interior designer. It's all wrapped up in one little ball when I work with people, but it's just getting them to see how important your environment is to your overall well-being.
Can you give us an actual story? The house spoke to you and was like, could you please have it moved over here? Or the trees are like, could you please do this? Or something like that, where it was really cute.
I have one that was pretty dramatic, that's easy and it was quick. Um, these are not my normal demographics. They were later 70s, this couple that called me, and usually, anywhere from 30 to 60-ish is my group. Sometimes a little more on either side. But I got there and the gentleman was in his oxygen tank, attached to it. I asked what was going on because that's how I start every consultation. I just say, what why am I here? If you had to wiggle your nose and tell me three things that you would like for your life and why you reached out and why you asked me to come, what would they be? And he said, I feel like I'm drowning. I can't breathe and I need oxygen in order to breathe. And I'm just like, okay. And in the back of my head, I got told to go to the bedroom. And so, I haven't even been past the living room. And normally in a consultation, I'll walk the whole thing. And I just said, we can skip everything. Where's your bedroom? I need to go to your bedroom because that's how I get it. I just get, words, just like Sedona. I said, go to the bedroom, go to the bedroom. And the wife was saying, I don't even sleep in the bedroom with him anymore because the machine keeps me up all night. It makes noise. He's up and down. So she had to move out. And we went to the bedroom and I'm like, oh, here we go. All I did was one thing in that whole house. He was sleeping above a beautiful, very expensive piece of artwork of Venice. It was an oil painting, and there was a gondola along a canal. And I said, this is it. This is the problem. He goes, what do you mean? It's very expensive. It was a great trip. I go, all of that can be true. However, it's also true that you are sleeping underwater. Where does a human being not breathe? Where does a human being need oxygen? Where does a human being feel like they're drowning? Underwater.
Mm.
And you're sleeping underwater. And the wife had been sleeping there too and had not had any problems. But again, it depends on everybody. Some people are more sensitive. If he already had an underlying condition, this exacerbated it. So I just said, the only thing I want to do is move this piece of artwork. We're not getting rid of it. We're taking it to an area in the front of the house where water is considered auspicious. And we hung it there. We found a home. That's it. That's all I did. I said, I'll check back in with you in 2 weeks. I want to see what's going on, and we can look at other stuff. We can do anything else you guys want. You still have time with me, but I just want to see what this one thing does. And 2 weeks later, when I got there, he was playing in the front yard with his granddaughter, and he was no longer on oxygen.
I love that
I
story.
mean, and it was that dramatic. And I was like, whoa, even I was a little like, that's wild, And so we walked the rest of the house and, there was little things we could pick and choose, but really that was why they called me. And that was what was doing it. So I do like to share with people whenever I am chatting about this stuff. I do like to give people very simple takeaways that they can do at any point in time. Look at what you're sleeping under because it impacts you greatly. We spend about a third of our life in bed. And so what's above you really, really can have a huge effect. If you feel like the weight of the world is on you, there's probably a globe or a really heavy landscape. If you can never see forward, if you're always just caught in the past, I would bet there's a mirror which also would feel heavy, but there's a mirror which keeps you looking backwards. Or you've got nightstands made of that smoky glass that were all the rage, like last decade or whatever. that keeps you stuck in the past. So there's so many different water scenes can, again, like we discussed, make you feel overwhelmed, underwater, anxiety. I had another kid who had a lot of anxiety and he was sleeping with a picture of it was an aquatic scene and there was a big shark. I'm like, well, how would you feel if you slept under a shark every night? Not peaceful.
I love this.
So
Uh,
yeah, it's really fun.
Talk to us about who you trained under for Feng Shui.
I trained under a world-class Feng Shui consultant master at this point. Her name is Karen Rock Carter. And that was one of those that happened as we've been talking about coincidence, not coincidences, in quotations. Um, I was getting ready for a very unexpected cervical fusion, which is my witch wound in this lifetime from that hanging. I've always been light, I've always been white, but I have been a sorceress in many, many lifetimes and I've been hung for it. And so in this lifetime, I will not be persecuted for using my voice, which is a lovely thing to hear. But I do have a plate with 6 screws and mesh and cadaver bones that hold up my neck, as well as my lower back. So I'm fused at root chakra and at throat chakra. Isn't that fascinating?
Here, what's Charlotte?
Right?
If you don't mind publicly sharing this, what's Charlotte say about all that?
I had to go through it to get to where I am now. I know that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't think I would have ever pivoted if my neck surgery didn't happen because I was on the hamster wheel going, going, going. So the way that Karen came into my life was I was working with a client who was way more spiritually in tune than I was at that point. This is before the feng shui. This is before everything. And we just clicked immediately. We'd been circling each other's orbits for a long time, but then she reached out and hired me as a just interior designer to do her new home. And as we were shopping for stuff, like there'd be areas I wouldn't be able to go into in a room. She goes, "What are you feeling? Male or female?" I go, "What? What are you talking about?" She goes, "Just give me one, male or female." And so I'm like, well, this woman is crazy, but slowly I started asking questions. And then one day she said, "I want to hire a feng shui consultant to come to my house. I'd like you to be there so you can implement design-wise whatever she tells me to do." And she said, by the way, she said if we both hired her for consultations, she wouldn't charge us for travel expenses. And something in me said to just say yes. I had no idea what feng shui was. I had no idea about anything. I had no idea who this woman was. So I did not find out who Karen Rock Carter was until she left my house that day. And I realized that she had a book that had been translated into 9 languages, multi bestseller around the world. And she's this really big deal. And I just said yes. And within 10 minutes of the consultation at my house, she stopped talking and looked at me and she goes, "You're going to be doing this." And and I remember saying to her, "No, thank you. I have no interest." I was hyper focused because I was a month out from my neck surgery on getting my bedroom as quote unquote aligned as I could so that I would have a good recovery. Because not only was I going to have the fusion, but then I was going to be in a neck brace for 6 to 8 weeks. So I needed my bedroom to be in really good shape. And I just said no, Of course, I did everything she suggested. 6 months later, my husband and I are talking, and I'm like, "I need to do this." He goes, "You need to do this." So I reached back out to her and asked if she'd take me on as a student. And she did. And I closed down my design business until I got certified. It took about a year to go through her full certification course. And now she's a very, very, continues to be an amazing mentor, but dear friend and mentor. So if she's in Tampa, she'll stay with me. When I was in Sedona, she'd come out and visit and stay with us. And she's just a remarkable human being. She lives in Mexico now.
I love that.
Yeah, no,
Beautiful.
she's super cool. And yeah, I mean, they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And there she was.
Okay, this is the point of the show where I'm going to light some sage. People at
Sure.
home can catch it. It doesn't matter if you're in Germany, Tokyo, Christchurch, and it's the year 2030. Time and space isn't quite what you think it is. It's more about energy. And Alejandra is going to talk to us more about energy, universal flow, consciousness, and a little bit. I'm going to light sage, but if you want, ask the universe, set your intent, ask the universe angels to get you out of your head into your heart and help that schnoggin catch some sage. If you're gung ho and already believing in all this or allowing for it, ask for some flowers and even ocean smell, your favorite ocean you haven't been to in a while, not the one right out back. Okay, here it goes. And everybody gets a holiday dad joke. Santa's reindeer, Blitzen and Dancer, just those two. You don't have to remember who they are. Why do they drink so much coffee? Blitzen and Dancer. The answer, because they're Santa's Starbucks. If you're laughing, you're letting go. She's already heard this before the show, so don't look at Alejandra right now. Okay, you're already getting the sage, yes?
Yeah.
Now, anybody can close their eyes and catch flowers. Alejandra, what flowers are you getting? Ask for exotic.
I got a lei, a Hawaiian lei.
And then lastly, if you could allow for Hawaii to come in for a particular reason, I'm going to blow the microphone up here with my breath, but it'll be really angels of the universe. Catch a little sea spritz ocean from Maui, Kanapali, Wailea, Kapalua. Did you get that as well?
I did.
Okay. I'll put up one angel and I'll put up Kapuna Auntie Margaret from Hawaii, and then we're going to get back to conversation. We'll play around a little bit later. I'll maybe show my light. I forgot to do that before the show. That'll be fun for everybody. That's another one of those 30-second exercises. Why don't I do that real quick? People can see my light. It'll be gold, green, yellow, the chakra thing, the whatever you want to call it, Kundalini thing. But if you could, after you see it, let the universe come in and make an object for you. People have gotten butterflies, phoenixes, an angel, bells, just beautiful stuff. Just flowers. It could be anything. But everyone gets another dad joke. Bert and Ernie, Sesame Street. Bert offers Ernie ice cream. What's Ernie say? Sure, Bert. And be in your heart. You'll just see a little film and a light between my fingertips when I separate them. And what color are you seeing, Alejandra?
Blue.
Okay. And then as I go a little bigger, ask the universe, your crew to step in and do something extra. It could be sparks, it could be objects, it could be a geometric pattern. What are you getting in between my fingers or above?
The Merkaba.
Ooh. You're invited back on the show anytime you want. Okay. So talk to us about first, can you throw some, I don't know how to say it in English, props? Can you throw a compliment to your husband for being so patient, amazing, and supportive?
Oh, I do. The book was dedicated to him for that reason. Yes. I mean, now we've been married almost 35 years. It'll be 35 in June. So yeah, he's a good egg because he knew one person, from the age of 18. We met when we were in college. So from 18 to 50, I was, one person basically. And from 50 to 57 now, it's like, woohoo, I'm a completely different human being. And he's along for the ride. I did give him the option. I do believe in free will. And, when I decided to go down this path, I did say, if this is just too much for you, I understand. But he's like, no, let's do this. So he's a good egg.
Fighting Irish, yes.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
won yesterday. We beat USC yesterday. Woo, big game.
Okay, where do you want to take us for what you've learned, especially in the last year to 5 years, that's really important for us all to hear?
I truly believe. Oh, by the way, I saw a bunny when you asked what the shape was.
Ooh,
Besides the
okay.
Merkaba, I got a bunny rabbit too.
We didn't know that. So thank you.
Yes, like a brown one though, like not just a cute white bunny. It was like the brown one with the long ears,
Yep.
more like a field bunny type thing. Um, okay. I think, and I've been asked several times, and I do truly believe it. I think we all have gifts. I really do. I strongly believe that we all have gifts. I think a lot of us are starting to wake up en masse a lot more now. And I think that people don't know what to do with it a lot of times, just like I did. And I felt very alone for a lot of my journey. So, what I want people to know is if you are getting these nudges, like if you're listening to us talk and you're like, these people are crazy, then maybe this is not for you. Maybe this is not your time. And that's okay. But my guess is if you're still listening to this show, that you're one of us at some level. So, trust those nudges. Just really trust those nudges. Trust that the universe is trying to guide you. I am trying to be so much better at not having to have the universe knock me flat on my butt before listening. If you really, and again, going backwards, connecting the dots, 47, I had a full hysterectomy with a bladder surgery that went way wrong. So I was connected to a catheter for the first month, 24/7, which is my kryptonite. Then I had to learn to either catheterize myself or stay connected to the catheter until they could do the surgery to fix the problem 6 months later. So I learned to catheterize myself. Now there's a universe trying to tell you to slow the F down, right? Didn't do it. Kept going, kept going, kept going. So as soon as that second surgery was done, I went right back into about 3 months later into my lower lumbar fusion. And that didn't stop me. I was just kind of getting back on my feet, feeling good about things, turning 50 when the surgery for my neck came out of nowhere. And that did not give me an option because you can't drive, you can't cook, you can't work, you can't do anything except literally watch TV because your neck can't move. It's sitting straight forward. So you can't look down, you can't do anything. And that is when I finally stopped. And that is when the messages started coming. And that is when my life completely pivoted. And I think that it would be helpful for people to hear that if you are getting these nudges and you are getting these messages, maybe don't wait till you get knocked on your butt. And also keep track of them. People ask me that all the time. Well, like, how do you know? Like, I keep a journal and I've kept a journal. And that was the basis for the book. There was this journal because I was like, what am I supposed to write a book about? What do you mean I'm writing a book? What do I need to, I don't want to write a book. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to do any of this. And I was told the book was going to help millions of people. So that is why I chose to do it and move forward with it. But keep tabs, and I would say this for the feng shui adjustments too. Keep tabs of what you're doing, what messages you're getting, write the dates down, write down the outcomes of it, because it all matters. And it really helps to go back and see that progress. And I think it just helps you feel more validated moving forward and will maybe help you feel a little bit more inclined to be even more curious and continue to have a beginner's mind and to see what's next for you and what maybe your real purpose. I started by asking the question, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Our son was graduated from college, grown and flown, starting his best life ever. He's now married. We were really empty nesters. I was recovering from this surgery. My business was on hold. So I really was like, why am I here? What is my purpose? And I got my answer. So you can ask that question too.
I like it. Okay, we're going to jump to Feng Shui. Everyone's living in an apartment, a place, a house, some sort of dwelling. What's the most basic advice without knowing anything about their personal setup? They could just
Sure.
look around right now and adjust one thing.
Sure. It's literally what I just did this morning. So again, we're taping on a new moon. And I like doing this ritual. You can pick whatever day works for you. It happens to be the first of the month as well today, so it lines up really nicely. But you can pick a first of the month, you can pick last of the month, whatever works for you. But once a month, I go out and I look at my front door. And I really look. We live in a single family dwelling, but you can do this for an apartment. You can do this and whatever, even if you're renting a room someplace, stand outside and see. And again, you control this to the level that you can control it, right? You only have so much control. But are the lights working? If you've got light fixtures, are they burnt out? What's the doormat look like? What's the shape of the door look like? Meaning, is it in good shape? Is it in bad shape? Does it need to be repainted? Is it filthy? Does it need to be wiped down? Does the hardware stick? And the reason all of this matters so much is that just as we take nutrients in through our mouth, that is how we get the nutrients for our entire body, right? It comes through our mouth. Our home gets its nutrients and its energy through the front door. So the front door is the most important part of your entire home. And if that is not in good shape, if you can't open the door because there's piles of shoes behind it, all those different things can lead to obstacles in your life one way or another and be making things a lot harder than they have to be. If you've got plants, are they thriving or are they dying? Well, that's the energy you're inviting in, right? If the light bulbs are all burnt out, you have no idea how many people come to me. I was just at that same trip when we were in New Orleans. I was talking to a client, actually not a client, a couple. They weren't clients. This is why I couldn't say anything. who was telling me how burnt out they were. And we were standing beneath their dining room table, and 7 of the 8 light bulbs in the chandelier were out. And they were both telling me how exhausted and burnt out they were. And I'm just looking up. Nobody had asked for my opinion. Nobody had asked me. So I stayed quiet. I didn't say anything. Um, but I'm just thinking, like, there's a perfect example of how literal feng shui can be. Like, your house is telling you, so look around for clues in your house. Are things broken, and are you broke? Whether physically, financially, emotionally, get rid of things that are broken. Um, are there any live plants? Live plants bring such good energy, fresh flowers, super simple ways to bring in fresh energy. And none of them cost a lot. And the front door is by no means the only place, but to me, it is the starting point for everything. If you're always also, if you can't make any clear decisions, and if you have a really big decision to make, clean your windows. Windows are the eyes to your home. So if you need clarity, clean your windows. Doors are the voice. Sorry, I looked at my door automatically. Doors are also interior doors are the voice. So are they in working order? Do your children have a voice? I got in trouble and slammed the door on my mom one time when I was 15 because some stupid teenage argument. I came home from school the next day. She'd taken away my door. And it took a long time for me to find my voice again. So don't take away your kids' doors, even if they slammed them in your face. It is not good for them energetically. So yeah, everything means something, and everything represents something in your life through your home. But start with that front door.
That's beautiful. Okay, we're gonna do a little last interactive and then wrap it up.
Sure.
But I've got 3 angels for you. The very first one is joy. If you don't mind getting something private, a compliment for you, you don't have to share it out loud, but then something for all of us would be fantastic, plus a hug. And people at home can do it. They can put their hand out and treat her like a fireplace, feel sparkle, warmth, some sort of vibration on your hand or all of you. And you can ask for a hug and feel a hug, a million ways to feel a hug. You're the house, and she'll feng shui you. Get a goosebump on your left arm, yummy in the tummy, feel a whoosh up by your head. What are you getting, Alejandra?
Got my hands are on fire. Um, she told me to dream big in 2025.
I love it.
Me
Okay,
too.
I'm going to put Charlotte up. She might have been Nefertiti in ancient Egypt. So
Oh,
catch a little ancient Egyptian incense in the air, a different one than from earlier. And what words of wisdom does she either have for you, for all of us, that she would like to share?
patience.
I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
Min, light waves of energy and water, soft-spoken professor, a little bit of mother Hawaiian or Hawaiian spirituality, very oceany.
Oh, I'm feeling her in my chest. Very much in my chest. She just said trust.
I love it. And then I've got one last figure. It's Kapuna Auntie Margaret from Hawaii. She's love on a Hawaiian breeze is how I describe her. And let me just find the photo. There we go. She's a sweetie. Anybody who wants to have their hands lit up, if you're already operating with your hands as sort of a healer type, she can still add a little bit of extra dimensionality to it, a little Hawaiian extra aloha to flow through your hands. Breathe through the mouth to open up more and allow, let the shoulders go up and down like you're exercising a little. Be in your field. Everyone is outstanding in their field with their sunflowers.
There's a really interesting orb above her in the photo, but it's moving, so I don't know where it's coming from, but
Probably
it's
my
very interesting.
reflection from outside or something, or
Okay.
my Christmas lights from my Christmas tree
Really
reflecting.
pretty though. She's beautiful.
And did you get something from her?
I just felt love.
Perfect. Last item that's interactive and unusual for a show like this, but not at all. I'm going to put my hand up in Texas. You're in Florida. Feel what you can feel. It's only love and above. So angels will be handling all the transaction stuff. None of my bill paying or worrying or thinking. Same thing at home. Compassion, love and above only, and with your permission.
Mhm.
I meant to do this before the show. Whoops.
Do I do this way?
Yeah, just feel what you can feel. But if you don't mind using an adjective, what are you feeling?
Honestly, energy, like it's sparkling.
Good. And then Joy's going to handle this transaction. I'm going to whoosh 3 times with my right hand like I'm playing ping pong. And you'll just get what you get. Let angels really do all the heavy lifting and whooshing you lots of light and consciousness. The first one's little, the second one's big, the third one's go big, go home. You're already at home, so it'll hopefully be really big. Let it be whatever you need it to be. If you have a lot of
Okay.
travel coming up, smooth travel or the
Yes.
book or anything else. So here comes the first one. I'll blow Hawaii through the microphone up top. Feel what you can feel, front or back or above. And it's like personal feng shui. What'd you get?
I just got peace. And I do think it is for the travel. I don't know that we shared that with everybody, but I'm leaving to Hawaii in a few days.
I love it.
And I've never been interested in going. So it's just really interesting that Hawaii was put in my sight line, just like Sedona, I think. So I do think there's going to be something completely life-changing there for me. I don't know what it is. And it's again, since I've never been, I don't know anything really about it. So I'm just trusting that it's going to be a peaceful and life-changing journey. That's it. Just a peaceful and life-changing journey.
Well, let's let our Hawaiian angel add a little more Hawaii. We'll up the volume level on Hawaii. And maybe we'll be running into some angels in human form there, sparkly eyed. You can tell us about it the next time you're on the
I
show.
would love to.
Here comes the second medium, but if you want to go big early, you can. You'll feel it the front, the back, everywhere.
Okay.
Here it comes. And how was that?
Yeah. My chest. It's like from my chest going up through my crown and up high.
Okay,
Oh, just feels
Joy
so good.
Min. We're going to do extra. This is the final one, but bring in ancient Egypt to mix with Hawaii and mix with a whole smorgasbord of love, kindness, fun, beach fun, letting go, and extra. 1 + 1 = 111. You can't stop yourself when you're out there. You have a blast. Here comes the final big one. And what'd you get on that one?
Light codes.
Oh, good. Oh, and that is something, sorry, I lied. One more. Let joy bring you a light symbol that you'll see open eyes and then closed eyes. You get an additional light code. She's doing all the work here. I forgot that I do this. I'm supposed to practice this. It's going to look like I'm a goose. You get double whooshed, and I forget to do this all the time. So apologies. But you're going to get a light symbol. It's a frequency transmission. It's worth what? Angel said 5 to 7 days with the Joe Dispenza seminar, and those are fancy. So
Wow.
this should count for something. Here,
Yes.
ask her about all that. Don't listen to me. And she should be like, damn straight, Skippy. I'm kidding. Okay, so now one last thing. Eyes are open. As soon as you see it, close your eyes and let the symbol go into your field. This will be a real quick one.
Okay.
And let your crew and angels bring you something there. And then close your eyes, let it go in your field. And they can do the blow by blow so you have something to share afterwards with us. And anybody at home wants to breathe more, you can receive your own symbol. Just allow, allow, allow. No try Yoda. I'm going to do Yoda's voice as a final bit of letting go. If you hear it and you're laughing, you're letting go. Mm. Ooh, do not. There is no try. And
Lovely.
that is the amount of letting go you got to do. The same to fall asleep at night or move a Venice Canal picture over your bed so you're not drowning or taking a hot shower, brushing your teeth. Super easy steps. Take them.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is.
you've done a million shows. Wrap us up here. Conclude with anything you wish, but what's life all about again? What's this whole thing about living, loving, and allowing more?
I think life is about living with magic these days. At least it is for me. You know, it's allowing the guidance to come through. It's working with your angels and your guides and letting them help you because life is hard. So why not let them help you and let them guide you and, you know, listen to those nudges, have a purpose. And it can depend on where you are in your stage of life too, right? Your purpose right now may be to be a mom, to be a dad, to do whatever it is you're doing. but do everything with a lot of intention and a lot of love.
Alejandra Brady, amazing to have you on Angels Positivity and Love. What a delight to meet. Look forward to having you back on as much as you come back on. And I wish you a lot of aloha on this trip to Hawaii.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited now. Thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
Thank you for being on the show.